The year is 1914. Europe is tense as the Austrians are preparing for intervention over in Serbia. Soon, the Russians would jump to Serbia's defense, while Germany supports Austria unconditionally. As the French and British were making up their mind about the conflict, the Germans would declare war on them, beginning the deadliest war in human history. As the Germans began their invasion of Belgium, the Belgian citizens sounded the alarm as they witnessed German troops entering their country. A young man named Alan Turing was among those who heard the call. At the time, he was just a student at the University of Cambridge, but when his country needed him, he dropped everything to do his part for the war effort. His contribution, however, was not what one would expect. When the war began, nobody thought that Germany would win. They were much smaller than France or Britain, so why did no one try to invade them first? Well, the answer was simple. They had the most powerful military technology the world had ever seen, which allowed them to wage war on multiple fronts simultaneously. It was called the Enigma machine. The Germans used these machines to encrypt their messages. The Enigma machines would scramble any message put into them, turning them into a string of meaningless letters. This made it extremely hard to decipher their plans and strategies, allowing the Germans to gain the upper hand in the war. In fact, it was so advanced that even the Polish and French couldn't crack it. Most people believed it to be unbreakable, but Turing didn't think so. He dedicated his life to beating Enigma, and his efforts resulted in one of the most important inventions of the 20th century. Welcome to my channel, and today let's find out how Alan Turing cracked the unbreakable code and saved millions of lives. The challenge. In 1932, something unusual happened. The Polish men, Marian Rejewski and Henryk Zagalski, managed to decrypt the German message using the Enigma machine. This was shocking news because everyone believed it to be unbreakable, but they didn't realize how close they were to a breakthrough. You see, the Polish had actually come very close to breaking the Enigma code. However, they were only able to do it with the help of a German manual which revealed some of the flaws in the machine. When the Germans realized what had happened, they fixed the flaws and made the Enigma machine unbreakable. In 1938, the French sent the Poles a message asking for help in defeating the machine. But they refused unless the French helped them modernize their own army. And since the French had no intention of doing that, the Poles decided to send two of their best cryptanalysts to France. One of them was a mathematician named Marian Rejewski, who had been instrumental in breaking the Enigma code. Unfortunately, the French didn't know anything about the Enigma machine, so they wasted valuable time sending the Poles to various government officials before finally realizing that they needed to take action. By then, the Germans had invaded Poland, ending any hope of collaboration. Meanwhile, back in England, the British had received warnings about the Enigma machine from the Poles, but like the French, they didn't take it seriously until it was too late. Now, as the war was raging on and the Germans were advancing across Europe, the British and French realized that they had a serious problem on their hands. If they were going to defeat the Germans, they needed to break the Enigma code. That's when they remembered the Poles in Paris. The British sent a man named Alan Turing to bring them back to Britain. By the time Turing arrived in France, however, the Germans had already taken control of Poland and there was nothing left to salvage. But the Poles weren't deterred. Instead of returning home, they decided to follow Turing to Britain and offer their services to the Allies. Once there, Turing worked closely with the Poles to learn everything about the Enigma machine. Their combined knowledge gave the Allies a big advantage over the Germans. But it wasn't enough to break the code, so Turing came up with a plan. He wanted to build a machine that could test every possible combination on the Enigma and then compare it to the intercepted message to see which one matched. He called it the bomb machine. It was basically an early computer that used a series of wheels and gears to simulate the Enigma machine. With the help of the Poles, Turing built 3 such machines and soon they would pay off. On May 1941, the British intercepted a German message that was encrypted using the Enigma machine. It was a routine transmission that didn't contain any sensitive information. but it was perfect for testing Turing's new machine. The first two machines were set to test the most common combinations, while the third one was set to test the least likely ones. After several hours, one of the machines signaled that it had found a match. The message was successfully decoded, and the Allies were just getting started. Over the next few years, Turing and his team cracked countless German messages, giving the Allies invaluable insight into the enemy's plans. In fact, historians believe that Turing's work may have shortened the war by 2 years, saving millions of lives. Quiet impact. After the war ended, Turing returned to Cambridge University, where he continued his work in mathematics. But his time in the war had taken its toll on him, and he never reached the same level of success again. Sadly, his life ended in tragedy in 1954. He was arrested for gross indecency after the British authorities learned that he was in a relationship with a man. He was given the option of going to prison or undergoing chemical castration. Turing chose the latter and died just 2 years later at the age of 49. Although Turing's contributions to the war effort were recognized at the time, his legacy was largely forgotten until the 1970s, when a book was written about his life. Since then, he has become a national hero in Britain, and his story continues to inspire people around the world. But what if Turing had never existed? Can you imagine a world without computers or the internet? It's hard to fathom, but it very nearly happened. Turing's work paved the way for modern computing, and his methods are still used today to encrypt and decrypt messages. He was truly a genius, and his story is a reminder that one man's trash is another man's treasure. What do you think? What's your favorite thing about the internet? Let us know in the comments below. Now check out how the world would be different if Rome had won against Hannibal. Or watch this video instead.